All right, so today we'll be using the grappler. We're going to be doing mostly a floor-based workout. And so you'll want to have the grappler. I also have a little cushion just because I already checked, and today sitting out with my legs out straight is already a little tighter. It's already a little bit more comfortable. So I'm going to have this little cushion, and then that just puts my hips just a little bit higher than my feet. And it's going to make it a lot easier for me to do some of these motions that we're going to do today. But first we're going to move into a kneeling position, and what we're going to do is in this kneeling position we're going to take the grappler, we're going to press it up overhead, and you're going to squeeze those hands together, and you really want to work on that position first. And if that's easy, then we're going to add another movement to the lower body. But if that is challenging, you're going to stay right there for now and just continue to push your arms up overhead. If it's easy, we're going to add this lower body movement where we're going to rock back and forth. As you go forward, we're bending the knees a little bit more. As you push back, you're extending that front leg, bending onto the back knee, going forward. The back knee kind of extends, the front knee flexes, and then as you press back, just finding out how far can you move with keeping those arms up overhead. This is a more upper body focus, so we're going to bring that grappler down. We're going to switch sides with the kneeling. Take your time as you transition. Press that grappler up overhead. Squeeze those handles together. How does it feel in this position? If it's too tight, stay there. If you want to add an additional challenge, move through the lower body. We're pressing forward and then press back. Pressing through that front leg. Rock forward, feeling that pressure shift through the hips, keeping that grappler high up overhead. All right, we're going to move to a seated position before we move to a couple face down movements. So what we're going to do is you're going to hug this grappler. You're going to sit up nice and tall. You're going to hug it into your chest. We're going to turn to the right, and you're going to lean opposite. So I'm leaning towards my left as I'm turned to the right. Hold that for a little bit. Then you're going to come up and lean to the right. Still with that right rotation. Trying to keep the legs in contact with the floor. The butt, try not to let the cheeks lift off. And then we're going to lean back to the left. Keep that lower body in contact. As you do the side bend, reach back up, lean to the right. Doing this all while turn to the right. Then back up to the middle. We're going to turn back to all the way to the left side. Holding that left rotation, lean to the right. Hold for a little count. Back up, over, lean to the left. Again, trying to keep that lower body in contact. Just finding where does your body find tightness as you move. Leaning back to the right, back up, and lean to the left. All right, we're going to move to face down. The grappler is going to go across your low back, and we're going to go face down. And this first one, we're going to do a grappler lift. So forehead is down, tuck your chin. We're squeezing the handles, and we're going to lift the grappler high, squeezing the handles together, and then relax. This time as we lift, we're going to pull the handles apart. So this time lift and pull the handles apart. And then relax. We're going to do one more of each again. We're going to lift and squeeze. And then relax. And then we're going to lift and pull apart. Trying to keep their shoulders depressed away from the ears. Try not to let their shoulders shrug. Reach the hands towards the body or towards your feet. And then relax. Now what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze those hands as you bend one leg at a time. So now we're doing a little bit of a quad stretch, trying to keep your quad in contact with the floor as you bend the knee as much as you can, taking the heel towards the glutes. Squeeze that little grappler. Trying to avoid any cramping. Tighten the back of the hamstrings as you flex the knee, trying to keep the quad in contact with the floor. We're gonna go ahead and turn over, lying on your back. We're gonna do your left leg first. So we're gonna have the right leg out straight. You're gonna bring the left thigh up to the grappler. You're pressing the grappler down, and we're gonna do a little hip rotation. So the lower leg is going back and forth as the thigh stays in place. And that foot goes across into external rotation. It's more of the inner thigh. As that foot and lower leg goes to the outside, it's getting more of that top outer thigh. Just touching more of that grappler. So the thigh and the lower leg is just rotating back and forth. From external rotation, driving that leg to the outside, which is internal. Now we'll switch, taking that leg out straight, bringing your right thigh up to the grappler. We'll go to the foot going across, bring it back to the middle, go to internal rotation, taking that foot to the outside. Pause at the extremes. Bring it back to the middle. And relax, shake it out. All right, we're gonna set that grappler down for a moment. You're going to have your feet wide, and we're gonna press the hips to the ceiling. Stretching out the front of the hips, squeezing the glutes, and relax back down. Press up once again, pressing through the heels, trying to see, can you get those hips up as high as you can? Trying to get that level to where you can get a stretch through the front of the hips, the hip flexors, then back down. We'll do one more. Press through the heels, keeping the feet flat. Tighten your glutes, squeeze the cheeks as you press the hips to the sky. And roll back down. All right, we're gonna move to a kneeling position. Holding the grappler. This time we're gonna be grabbing just inside the handles on the flat part of the bar. We're gonna be pulling the hands apart as we do a little elbow flexion. So we're pushing the hands apart, keeping the arms at your side, just squeezing up. We're gonna do about 8 of these. So again, the hands are pulling apart and we're just flexing the elbows, a little bicep curl. Nice. All right, we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna move back into our kneeling overhead press. And so this time you can put a little bit more emphasis in the lower body if you have to accommodate and not have your arms up overhead as much, but otherwise try to press both. So we're gonna grab the grappler handles, press up overhead, squeeze those handles together. This is already challenging in itself. You're trying to push those handles back and up, and then you're moving through the lower body, pressing the body back, and then rocking forward, pressing back, straightening that front leg, getting a good active stretch. And again, if you can't move through the lower body, put more of the emphasis in this round into that lower body, so it's okay to have the grappler a little bit lower on this round. Okay, we'll switch to the other side, taking your time in between the transition. Press that grappler up overhead. How does that feel? Squeeze those handles towards each other. Press those handles back. And then rock back and forth. Feeling that pressure change and shift through the hips. Trying to use the lower body to drive the movement. Okay, we're gonna move back to our seated position. So again, I'm gonna grab the cushion. And that's just to allow my legs to be a little bit lower than my hips. Open up my active hip flexion. So now we're gonna grab the grappler. This time we're gonna turn to the right, and then you're gonna lean to the left. Hold that. Back up, still turn to the right. Lean to the right. Keeping that lower body in contact with the floor. Back up to the middle. Still turn to the right. Lean to the left. Back. And lean to the right with that right rotation. Back up to the middle. Turn. We're turning to the left. We're going to lean to the right. Back up to the middle. Lean to the left. Again, trying to keep that lower body in contact. Lean to the right. Setting up tall. Lean to the left. And relax. All right, we're going to go to our face down exercises. So again, we're going to start with it in our low back. We're going face down. Tuck that forehead so your nose and eyes. And tuck that chin so your nose is out of the way. Forehead is on the floor. We're squeezing as you lift. Pushing those handles together. Lift the grappler high to the sky, then relax. Now you're going to pull apart as you lift. Also pushing the shoulders down towards the feet. Then relax, push together, squeeze together as you lift. Then relax. We got one more pulling apart. Pull apart as you lift and depress those shoulders. It's easy to let them shrug. And relax. Now we'll put a little more emphasis into the lower body. So we're going to squeeze the elbows back. And then bend one leg at a time, getting a little bit more of a stretch into that lower body. Bending one knee at a time, trying to keep that thigh, that with the active leg that's bending, keeping that thigh in contact with the floor. Get a little bit more of an active quad stretch as you tighten your hamstrings, flexing the knee. And relax. All right, turn over onto your back. Legs are out straight. This time we're going to do the right leg first. So we're going to bring the right leg up, pushing the grappler down. Bring your thigh to where the grappler and thigh meet. And then we're going to take that foot and lower leg across, which is hip external, as you push the left leg out straight on the floor. Hip to neutral. Take the foot and lower leg to the outside. And we're just rotating that lower leg and hip back and forth. Nice and gentle, pausing at the extremes. If you get any tightness or cramping, try to breathe into it. Last pass through. And we'll shake that leg out, let it go to the ground. We're gonna take that leg out straight. We're gonna bring the other leg up, push the grappler down, have the thigh and grappler meet. Now we're doing the active leg on the left side. Again, pause and hold the extremes, and then move gently and slowly as you change positions. And that foot and lower leg are to the outside, that's internal rotation. You're gonna feel that in the upper outside of the thigh and hip. And then when the foot goes across, that's hip external. That's gonna be more of the inner and lower part of the thigh. All right, we're gonna drop the grappler. We're gonna do hip bridges. So we're gonna press through the feet, lift the glutes high to the sky, squeeze the cheeks. If that's easy, we're gonna lift one leg up at a time, putting more pressure into the single side glute. Otherwise, keep both feet on the ground. Bring that foot down, we'll switch sides. If you're on both feet, go ahead and take a rest, relax all the way down. And for everyone else, bring the foot down and relax. Taking a little break and then press up once again. If you want to go to the single leg, press out. Otherwise, stay pressing through both feet. And then we're going to switch legs, and if you're doing both, go ahead and lower. Again, press the glutes high, foot down, and everyone lowers. All right, we're moving to kneeling position. We're gonna grab the straight bar. So just inside, right next to the cushion. Here I'm gripping, and I'm pushing apart as I'm bringing that grappler up. So I'm keeping the upper arms along my sides, really tightening up my biceps, the front of the arms, keeping those elbows and upper arms locked in at the rib cage, pushing those hands apart as I flex the elbows, tightening up my biceps, over-exaggerating the involvement of what my biceps, I'm imagining the bar is 100 pounds, and relax. All right, take a brief break, grab some water if you'd like. We're gonna do one more round. This time with this kneeling overhead, we're gonna put the emphasis back into the upper body, so limiting how much you do with your lower body to over-exaggerate or to maximize what you can do with your upper body. So if you have to make adjustments to your lower body to help you get the upper arms up overhead, that's okay. So you might decrease the size of the kneel, you might not be fully extended and up tall, but here we want to have your arms up overhead. If you found yourself to be fatigued after doing this first 2 rounds, then you might do this even lying down and just practice with your arms going up overhead. And so what that might look like is lying down and just pressing up overhead, squeezing those hands towards each other as you press those grappler up overhead, then bring it to the chest and then up overhead. So for us, we're going to be in this kneeling position, up overhead squeeze. We're going back and forth, pressing that grappler behind the body, but up overhead as well. And then trying not to let any of what's happening in the lower body change what's happening with the grappler up overhead, not changing any of that shoulder position. And we're gonna switch sides. Taking your time in that transition. All right, we move to the seated position. In the seated position, hugging the grappler, how does it feel to sit up nice and tall? You can try not to slouch, try to sit up nice and tall. We're gonna turn to the left. With that left rotation, we're gonna lean to the right, holding for a couple breaths, keeping that same rotation, lean to the left, keeping the lower body as stable as possible, back up to the middle, lean to the right, keeping that grappler in close. That allows your torso to help create a little additional tension. Then we're gonna rotate, come out of that side bend. We're gonna rotate to the right, lean to the left, back up, lean to the right with that right rotation, trying to keep the lower body in contact with the floor. Back, lean to the left, keep the shoulders down. I like to start shrugging up. So it's almost like hugging to the chest and pulling the grappler slightly down. Tall, lean over to the other side, lean into the right with that right rotation, and relax. Okay, we're going face down. Placing the grappler into your low back. Keeping more of the toes in contact with the floor. We're gonna squeeze, lift the grappler high as you're squeezing. Then relax. Then you're gonna pull apart as you lift the grappler high. And relax. Then we're gonna squeeze as you lift. And relax. And then pull apart as you lift. And relax. Now we're relaxing. We're gonna squeeze with the elbows high, with it more into your low back, and we're gonna squeeze one leg at a time. Bending the knee, keeping that the leg that's bending, keep that thigh in contact with the floor. And you're trying to increase the tension in this posterior chain as you're keeping your thigh in contact with the floor. We'll do one more each side. And so we're trying to increase the tension into that low back area. All right. So then here, what we're gonna do is lie, we're gonna press the grappler down, we're gonna do the single leg hip flexion with the opposite leg out, and then we're doing the hip, active hip, external and internal rotation. Holding the extremes for 1 or 2 count. Taking your time in between the positions from the internal rotation to bring that foot and lower leg across the body, which is hip external. So your thigh is trying to stay in the same spot for the most part along that grappler. We'll do one more each position. And then let that leg go out, shake it out. We're gonna switch, bring the other leg up, pushing the grappler down, have the grappler and thigh make contact. Hold the extreme positions for about a 2 count. Taking your time in between the extremes. How does it feel when you move out of those extremes? Does one side kind of get sticky? Can you squeeze or push into it? Last time through. And relax, shake it out. We'll place that grappler to the side. We're doing little bridges. We're pressing through the heels, press the hips high to the sky. And then drop back down, rolling back down. And if you want, you can go to one leg. Otherwise, we're pressing back up. Squeeze the cheeks. Press the arms and shoulders into the floor behind you. Press the head into the floor. And then drop the hips back down. So everything that's touching the floor, you're trying to press harder. And then we're going to lift up once again. And relax back down. All right, we have our final exercise for today. So we're going to move to this kneeling position. So we're going to squeeze the grappler, lock the upper arms, elbows in at your sides, rib cage, and we're just squeezing, pulling up as you push those hands apart. But they're not sliding because you're gripping the handle or gripping the bar, and we're just pulling up. And again, pretending that this bar weighs 100 pounds, pulling those hands apart. That's it, nice job. Last one. Nice job.